This video is sponsored by Incogni.
Oh no!
On a lonely planet slowly spinning its way to damnation, amid the incompetence and unpreparedness of lesser space programs, one team stands resilient against the herds, putting their lives on the line to aid those who were previously unaware of the quick-save option. Yes, it's the incredible adventures of Jebediah and his crack team of Kerbinauts. They are the Blunderbirds, saving the Kerbin race one stranded explorer at a time.
Welcome back to another Kerbal Space Program video, everyone. I know it's been a hot minute. I missed a couple of Saturdays due to Christmas and New Year's and working at my real job and all that jazz. But I'm back for 2026 now. And what better way to kick off the new year than with a Blunderbirds mission? A user on my Discord server, which you can join via the link in the description by the way, by the name of Basti, tragically got the big three Kerbals, Jebediah, Bill and Bob, stranded in Juno orbit with no way to rendezvous the ships, no electric charge in the lander, and very little fuel left in the mothership. So we're going to mount a rescue with the rocket I'm building right now on screen. And worry not, I will of course be doing a surface mission to Juno as well. Partly, to keep the video nice and interesting, also because that's when I'm going to drop the Kerbals down to. I don't want them just waiting in Juno orbit for all this time. They might get bone atrophy and all other complications from, prolonged duration in microgravity. So we're going to land them on the surface once I finish construction of the rocket, although looking at the screen, construction of the rocket is pretty much all finished. We just got a big dumb kind of triple core first stage, and we've got an Apollo style upper stage. I quickly added this little extra cabin here as I realized we've got to rescue 3 Kerbals from the surface, but I do also want to get a Kerbal down to the surface separately to plant the Blunderbirds flag and welcome the survivors on board and all that good stuff. I suppose building rockets in Kerbal Space Program is fairly simple because in real life you can't exactly stroll out and buy things like nuclear fuel or rocket engines. That market is pretty locked down tight, especially in countries like the US. But you know what is disturbingly easy to buy? Your personal data. That's why you should be using Incogni, today's sponsor, if you aren't already. I use it myself. It's basically essential these days. Data brokers compile shockingly accurate profiles from your online activity, public records, and even shopping habits, then sell them to advertisers, corporations, and sometimes people with far worse intentions. And in the US, people search sites make it even worse by displaying your address, phone number, and legal history to anyone. It's genuinely scary. Trying to remove data yourself is a losing battle. There are so many brokers, and you'd have to keep contacting each one endlessly. But Incogni handles all of that for you, reaching out to over 230 brokers repeatedly, demanding your data be deleted, and managing all the follow-ups automatically. And if a broker isn't on their list, Incogni's new custom removals tool lets you submit takedown requests to even more sites. This isn't just about reducing spam. Stolen personal data fuels scams, fraud, and identity theft, and with breaches up 72% in 2023, it's only going to get worse. So now's the time to do what I and many others have done and join Incogni. Use my link in the description and code MATTLOWNE for 60% off their annual plan to keep your data where it belongs, with you. Now, we're going to time warp. Well, I've kind of done things out of order. So I did this after I landed the Kerbals on the surface of Juno, but here I am just time warping to a Juno transfer window. Draw a line from Kerbin to the sun to Juno. The angle that line forms at the sun should be 45 degrees. Anyway, I'm doing this now before I time warped to a transfer window. I don't know why I ordered the footage in this way. We're going to try and land the lander on the surface of Juno. But first of all, I thought maybe we can try and rendezvous these two ships together so that they land together and it's much more easy. But we've only got 334 meters per second in our lander and something like 112 meters per second left in the mothership. And so I'm just playing around with the maneuver node maker. I just couldn't get an encounter that would be like within budget. It all took a little bit too much delta V to get the ships to be able to dock together. And we have the added complication of having no electric charge on board the lander and no means means of recharging that electric charge, and no SAS. I think there's no SAS control on board the mothership. So it was a real nightmare. So although we've got no electric charge, so things like the reaction wheels don't work, we can at least fire our engine, and the Terrier engine there, it has gimbals. So we can sort of point ourselves retrograde and put ourselves on a landing course. And then came the difficult part of trying to kind of keep ourselves oriented the right way using the RCS thrusters. So again, these work without power, but we don't have any reaction control. So I'm just having to keep the lander pointing retrograde just by kind of tapping RCS on and off. And we've only got a limited supply of monopropellant, so it was a little bit, to be honest, it's kind of boring. I'm going to speed the footage way up for you guys, but yeah, this took ages for me in real time, just watching the monopropellant gauge at the top there, making sure it never completely ran out, and trying to keep the lander pointing as close to retrograde as possible. Now, some of you might be wondering, Matt, before doing all of this, why did you not just get one of the Kerbals out on EVA and repack the parachute so that all of this would be completely trivial? And the issue is that we have Jebediah Kerman, who is a pilot on board, and Bob Kerman on board, who is a scientist. And Basti plays in career mode, so neither Jebediah nor Bob Kerman can repack parachutes. You need to be an engineer to repack the chutes. So that's why this was so difficult. And I did a bit of a suicide burn here because I had very little Delta V left remaining, but as you can see, we touched down. Oh, it was kind of tricky without SAS, but here we are. We have successfully touched down in one piece with only 27 meters per second of Delta V to spare. So not my best landing, but certainly one of my proudest. And I tried to see if I could right the lander at this stage, but as you can see, wasn't all that successful. We started rolling. I tried to roll it so that the EVA hatch was facing upward, or at least not pointed directly at the ground, so that when it came to getting the Kerbals out of the capsule, they could EVA, and it sort of went okay. We came to a rest against this rock just here. Now, that was obviously landing 1 of 2. We now need to get the mothership to land. And ideally, you know, we want to land it next to the lander, right? So that we don't have to do any big, long hops when we do the rescue mission. So I kind of waited until our orbit was kind of lining up with the location of the other lander on the surface. And then we're going to perform a kind of a retrograde burn and try and do a bit of a finagling with, I think it was the anti-normal node I aimed down to try and get ourselves to land more or less directly on top of the lander. Obviously, that's nigh on impossible feat to do because we're going to be landing just with parachute, so kind of had to try and be predictive here. But we ended up getting pretty close, and then Bill Kerman could just EVA over to his friends, I guess. So yeah, there it is. So we're just going to wait for that little kind of yellow-green target there, and hey, look at that! I think we came. I was pretty proud of this one. We came pretty close to the landing site of the lander. Now, I guess it would have been more sensible to perhaps have Bob Kerman and Jebediah Kerman EVA to join Bill, because Bill's capsule is much bigger. It has space for all 3 of the Kerbals rather than just 2, so they haven't got to, like, rotate, I guess, in terms of one person has to wait outside while the other 2 sit indoors. I don't know. But I decided not to. I just decided to get Bill. I think it was mostly because I couldn't be bothered to do 2 jetpack flights with the Kerbals. So we'll just get Bill Kerman over to Jebediah and Bob, so we have to do like 1 EVA pack flight. And there we are. I see maybe he can fit on board, but no, he could not board the module. It was full. So yeah, the Kerbals got to just take turns camping outdoors. Or, you know, maybe we can pretend that they flew back to the other capsule and they kind of, one of them would stay there for extended periods. For some reason, I decided maybe we could just put Bill inside this service module here. And it kind of worked, but he was sort of clipping into the Science Junior, so I thought I don't want to risk causing a Kraken attack and the whole thing explodes, or Bill Kerman gets killed or something like that. I did see if I could remove the little Science Junior from the service bay to give him more space, but I wasn't able to remove the Science Junior from the service bay. At this stage, I don't really know what I was doing. I think I just thought maybe we can try and turn this into a horizontal base, because obviously it's tipped over. I can't tip it back up, so maybe we can just move the legs around. We can make it look like it was meant to be positioned on its side like this, which ended up costing me dearly. Well, not costing me dearly, but it ended up having some unforeseen negative consequences, which we will cover later on in this video. Just like, this is ridiculous, isn't it? And for those who don't know, if you press I, if you've got an engineer Kerbal, press I and you can do these like EVA construction things. But there we are. Kind of looks sort of better than before, I think. I don't know. You might disagree. And if you disagree, That's fine. I understand that completely. But anyway, here we are, zooming down to a mid-tier Kerbal Space Center, ready to launch. So yeah, Basti has not yet completed Kerbal Space Program's career mode, so we only have like the mid-level vehicle assembly building and spaceplane hangar, mission control and all that good stuff. Mercifully, his launch pad was kind of beefy enough to support this rather large rocket so that we could perform our mission. As you can see in the pilot seat is Matt Kerman. We don't have Jeb, Bill, Bob, or Valentina at our disposal. I don't know where Valentina is, but she wasn't available in the astronaut complex, and there were no other astronauts available, so I decided to just create my own Kerbal using the Alt F12 menu. So Matt Kerman is a pilot Kerbal. That's what I have to say there. As we stage those two side boosters there, as you can see, we are now the central core is still fully fueled because I made use of fuel lines and crossfeed, so it's nice and efficient as we can continue our way to space. And we've got a lovely bit of cloud cover just there to give some kind of visual flair. Now, I don't play career mode ever, really, so I don't know why, but normally I have the little Kerbal Engineer readouts at the top of the screen, to the left and to the right of the altitude gauge. Those aren't here, so I figured it was something to do with career mode, like maybe you have to have an Engineer Kerbal on board in order to be able to see the Kerbal Engineer readouts. Maybe, I'm not sure. They do reappear later, and that happens to be when Bill Kerman is on board, so maybe you need two pilots because we have Matt and Jeb, or maybe you need a scientist. I don't know. I'm guessing you need an Engineer Kerbal on board. So I'm going to be using the bottom left gauge thing there to see all my apoapsis height is, my time to apoapsis and periapsis height and time to periapsis, all the good stuff. In case you're wondering how I'm flying without checking the map screen every so often to see what my apoapsis is, that's what I'm doing now there. You press the little, in the ZTheme at least, it's the little purple planet thing. It's the maneuver node viewer, basically. That lets you see your orbital information. Orbital information. I like working eyes in my real job, and orbital inflammation is a phrase I say, so maybe that's why I made that verbal typo. I don't know. Anyway, where is our apoapsis is now nice and high, well above the edge of space, so we can deploy our fairings and reveal our Apollo-style spacecraft. As in, you know, we have the lander positioned below the mothership, and the mothership itself is kind of it's that trick where you can kind of make a 4-seat command pod by putting the Mark 1 command pod, you know, the Mercury style one, on top of the Apollo style one. So there you are. Even though I'm pretty sure the real life Apollo command pod could have up to 5 seats. It was either up to 5 seats or up to 6 seats. It had a surprisingly large crew capacity. Obviously, it only ever flew with 3 seats, but, you know, there was always that capability. So, not sure what kind of moral I'm trying to... This is still here. Anyway, so the ship has been reconfigured. We have a little bit of fuel left in this lower stage, but I'm just going to ditch it now so it doesn't get left as forever space debris, especially because this is not my save file. This is Basti's save file, so I want to try and, you know, leave us... it's like the whole camping thing. Leave no trace, all that good stuff. So I'm just going to make a maneuver node to get ourselves into a circular Kerbin orbit, and then we can go ahead and continue on our way to Duna. But yeah, I've been to Duna quite a lot on this channel, so I'm guessing you've seen at least one Duna video at this point in your life, so you kind of know how it goes. So what could we talk about in the interim? I mean, how was everyone's new year? I feel like sometimes my videos, they don't always do very well initially, and then the algorithm like starts showing them to people like 6 months later. So I don't like talking about things that are too topical in the very moment, because sometimes videos will, like I say, do really badly, and then they suddenly get 50k views 6 months later. So if I start talking about Christmas and New Year of 2025, 2026, it then makes the video a bit dated. But I feel like I should at least mention it. I hope everyone had a wonderful Christmas period, holiday season, New Year's, and good stuff. I got loads of people in the UK got like the flu around Christmas. I think me personally, I got it kind of badly, as did my girlfriend, because we went to my work's Christmas do, and it was like this really hot room with a buffet, and I think just one person was ill there, and then everyone got ill. And then now I'm dealing with like this horrible pain. I don't remember I don't know how or when this happened, but I just woke up. And at first I thought, oh my god, I'm having a heart attack because my chest really hurts. And then suddenly I felt like my whole ribs were really tender. So I looked down, I had this like massive bruise on my chest, like on my ribs. And I'm like, oh, I must have walked into something or fallen over and bashed into something. But literally, I have no memory of this. I'm like, I was like, oh, well, I wasn't drunk or anything last night. What was I doing? So in the end, I just walked around my house, trying to find bits of furniture and stuff that's about the same height as the bruise to figure out what I must have walked into or crashed into or something. The best I could find was like at the top of my stairs, there's like a sort of a wooden post, and this wooden post got like a bit jutting out, and that seems to be about the same height as where my bruise is. So it's right next to my like upstairs bathroom, and my bedroom is upstairs, right? So maybe I sleepwalked, trying to go to the toilet, and then I bashed into the... I have no idea. It's a real mystery. But the long and short of it is that it's really painful, like, talking, which is obviously not great for the sake of doing a commentary. Well, I wouldn't say really painful, but just things like coughing, and I'm still on the tail end having this bit of a flu, aren't great. So yeah, I've got some ibuprofen, some paracetamol. I think paracetamol is what Americans typically call Tylenol, or Tylenol is either paracetamol or ibuprofen. I'm not sure. I'm not going to pause to Google it because, well, let's keep things mysterious. So I got those for painkillers and just getting through. I think it's definitely on the mend. It's definitely on the mend, but it's still kind of like, it's just annoying to have. Like, I wanted to go for a mountain bike ride because we had some sunny weather, and I'm like, I'm just in too much pain. If I fall off, I'm going to be in agony. So I had to fob that off. But yeah, that's my life. Obviously, this is like a very one-sided conversation. There's no back and forth here. I'm just me talking to you, and then you say something bad. But obviously, I can't hear you guys. So, but I hope none of you have acquired a mysterious rib injury of unknown cause that's giving you some significant bother. Oh, look at this on screen. I have another. I can talk about the video again because we have now arrived at Duna. Now we have 1968 meters per second of delta V remaining, which is kind of enough to circularize using engines around Duna and then getting back to Kerbin, but it wouldn't leave us with much fuel left. And so I thought, let's just play it safe and do the noob method of doing an aero brake to capture at Duna. Now, Basti at this point hasn't got action groups unlocked, so what I did, like, you can't set custom action groups in Kerbal Space Program yet. I'm guessing that must be unlocked later on in Pyramid when you upgrade maybe the VAB or something, I don't know, but you can still modify the ground, lights and brakes action group. So the reason those solar panels could all retract automatically is because I just tapped the brake button quickly, and that triggered the action group for the solar panels. So that's what I did there, in case you're wondering how to automate certain stuff when you got like the mid level stuff in career mode. I don't know. So yeah, we've captured at Duna. We are still on a very eccentric orbit. We're on an inclined orbit, but that was what I wanted because obviously we want our orbit to be passing over the stranded Kerbals, and they're not stranded on the equator. So we wanted to be on an inclined orbit, but we don't really want to be on an eccentric orbit like this. So I think I did like 1 or 2 more passes in the atmosphere just to lower our apoapsis a bit more, and then we'll finally circularize in a nice, symmetrical orbit using engine power. Yes, it's still a little bit eccentric, isn't it? So I guess we're going to do another swing around, making sure we keep an eye on our electric charge as well. Although that being said, the lander does have some small solar panels on it, so there was hopefully little risk of completely running out of electric charge. Yeah, yes, looking at the screen, this is definitely our final pass through the atmosphere because now our apoapsis is too low to risk kind of another atmospheric pass. We'd probably end up we'd probably end up landing basically. So yeah, now we're at apoapsis, we can point prograde and circularize, and then raise our periapsis to be above the atmospheric border of Duna, which is 50 kilometers, and then we'll tumble down to periapsis and lower our apoapsis to be till we got a circular orbit using engine power. That was horrific. I'm really sorry. That was we really stumbled through that little sentence together, didn't we? But I hope that's all cleared up now. So yeah, I really like how this craft turned out, actually. It had quite a lot of delta V for its size, considering we don't have a nuclear engine. We just have the less efficient chemical rocket engines. We got the Cheetah, which was the most efficient engine for use in a vacuum that Basti has unlocked currently. So that's what I use that engine for. If you want to download this craft file, by the way, if you're a YouTube member or a Patreon subscriber, then you should have got a notification about a separate video that's the same as this video with no ads on it. Or if you didn't see that notification, then there'll be a link in this video's description that takes you to the Patreon/YouTube members video. And in the description of that video, there'll be a download for the craft file. And I was thinking maybe it might be nice, so I'll include this as well. Include a download link for Basti's save file before I rescued it. So you can have a go at doing this rescue mission yourself. So if you felt, actually, Matt, I probably would have done this approach Well, there you go. You can have a go at it yourself and see if you get better results than I did. But yes, the lander doth be descending just over one of Juno's ice caps there. And then we can deploy our parachutes, but the parachutes are only going to help us for our initial landing. I was hoping we would just land by chance really, really close to the stranded lander so that we wouldn't have to do like another sort of separate flight to get closer. But that hasn't been the case. We're a little bit far away. I didn't want to EVA pack the Kerbals over such a long distance. So we have to touch down and then we're going to have to do a second flight to get to the stranded lander. But of course, Matt Kerman is a pilot, not an engineer. So we can't repack the chutes. So we're going to have to do the next landing using engine power. Although, obviously, the velocities and all that involved are much more forgiving. So shouldn't be an issue for us. And I've already landed on Juno once using engine power. And that was without SAS. So I think I'm well practiced at this point. So yeah, there's the lander there. And yeah, coming in nice and close. Oh, here we're going to go touchdown. Or maybe nearly. There we are. Beautiful. Now, the lander started sliding around a little bit, but I thought, no problem. I got Matt coming out on EVA, and we started getting the Kerbals over, and then the landing gear on the lander exploded, like of the rescue ship. It said overstressed, and it exploded. So that's why I've now retracted the landing gear. So I then loaded a quick save and retracted the landing gear of the lander. Luckily, I had the foresight to put some like fuel tanks that were below the engine bell, so we can kind of rest on our fuel tanks rather than the landing gear. It's always been a bit bugbear of mine, KSP1 and KSP2, that landing gear, ironically, is like the worst thing to use as landing gear, because stuff just slides around. If you just land on a fuel tank or a command pod or something instead, you generally get a much more solid foundation. Anyway, I mentioned really, really early on in this video that me moving the landing gear around had some consequences, and that our EVA hatch is obstructed. So Jebediah Kerman and Bob Kerman are stranded on the lander. So Bill Kerman is now frantically adjusting the landing legs of the lander to try and get a bit more, make a bit more space between the hatch and the ground. So the Kerbals can indeed go on EVA, and as you can see, they were able to. So there we are. And I thought, well, what we'll do is, I see Basti is mid-career mode, right? So let's help him out and runs the experiments that he has on the lander. I failed to think things through, and I thought maybe he's probably... So I'm really sorry, Basti, if you're watching this. You probably had science on board the lander stored inside the command pod, and I should have right-clicked the command pod and taken that data with me as well. But it just never crossed my mind. I just completely forgot to think about that. So you're going to get science from this landing spot here. But, you know, you got Jebediah Kerman, Bill Kerman, and Bob Kerman back home safely. So, you know, swings and roundabouts, isn't it? And there we are, planting the Blunderbird's flag, the most important part of any rescue mission, I believe. And, yeah, not much more other than just to get the 3 Kerbals on board the lander. Now, obviously, Bob Kerman and Jebediah Kerman have full EVA propellant because they've just been sitting on board their lander can for the duration of this rescue mission. But Bill Kerman does not. He had to fly like 4 kilometers using his jetpacks to get from his lander to this lander. So, yeah, didn't have that much EVA propellant left, but as you can see, masterfully using our limited budget to hover him slowly over. I mean, what I did do is make sure I had a ladder on board our rescue craft, so just in case we couldn't make use of EVA packs, we could have the Kerbals climb up, but the Kerbals, we could just use their jetpacks, so it was not needed in the end. But that's, you can see there's the ladder there that the Kerbals could have used to get back on board. But no, yeah, I mean, looking ahead to, you know, I said earlier, this is the first video of the year of 2026. My goodness, 2016 is 10 years ago now. Like, I know I could have said the same thing about 2015 was 10 years ago from last year, and indeed, 2015, special year for me, particularly with regard to this channel, because I uploaded my first KSP video and therefore de facto started this channel in 2015, so that was my 10-year anniversary. But I don't know, 2016 being 10 years ago feels like hits harder for some reason. Like, I don't know why, but I guess I have just stronger memories of 2016. I'm not sure why, but 2016 just seems like yesterday. That was the year we had the apocalyptics, you know, in the Rio de Janeiro Olympic Games, where they had like the green swimming pool disaster, and then all the celebrities in the world died as well. Like, what a year! It's just so fresh on memory, and to think that was a decade ago. That's crazy. Anyway, by the way, we've taken off. Just feel like I should mention what's happening in the video. We're going to rendezvous with our mothership. Anyway, back to whatever tangent I was starting here. Yeah, 2026, new year, new me. I've got some ideas for Kerbal Space Program videos. I should probably I've made like an Excel spreadsheet with some ideas I had. So yeah, I feel like I did a lot of coverage of the Outer Planets mod last year, particularly for like Sarnus and Plock, is it? The furthest planet from the sun in Outer Planets. But then I completely brushed over the other two gas giants, or ice giants I should say, in the Outer Planets mod. I've forgotten what they're called, but they're the Neptune and Uranus equivalents, and they got moon systems, so I thought I might to do like kind of a grand tour of those moon systems, and one of them's got a really cool kind of gas canyon to explore that someone on Discord told me about. So I think it'd be nice to revisit Outer Planets. And one of the big things I want to do this year, so one of the big series I did last year was I did another science mode playthrough of stock Kerbal Space Program, but not in the form of a tutorial. So kind of being a bit more creative with the missions than I normally otherwise would be when doing a series like that. But this year I want to do it again, but playing with the Community Tech Tree mod. So the Community Tech Tree mod basically, spoiler alert, changes the tech tree, right? But it has like a load of associated mods, so loads of different parts mods, and that's it actually. I think it has support for Outer Planets. I can't really remember. I remember googling it and thinking, yeah, that looks like a cool thing to try, and then that was like 6 months ago. So I'd like to put that plan into action this year. I need to carry on with my I made a wormhole station at the end of last year. I want to kind of build some more infrastructure associated with that. On the other side of the wormhole, the one that takes you to the Deb system with the Promised Worlds mod. Yeah, what else have I got down on here? Lockheed Martian with mods. That sounds fun. I want to do some recreations of the Thunderbirds. Looking at here, because obviously this is a Blunderbirds video, right? Blunderbirds is like a parody of Thunderbirds, which is like a British TV show from like the 70s, I want to say. Gary Anderson. It's all like a marionette puppet TV show, basically. They would just rescue people. They were international rescue, and they were called the Thunderbirds. So that's why this is like the Blunderbirds, because like people make blunders and it's a parody and it's a rescue. That's so I'd like to recreate the Thunderbirds vehicles, at least Thunderbird 1, 2, 3, and 5, especially. So that'll be something I want to do this year. But yeah, I'm always open to suggestions for either series ideas you guys have, or other just separate standalone video ideas. So do let me know in the comment section below what you'd like to see in this year of 2026. Maybe I should think about Planet Coaster 2 as well. I've recorded footage of Planet Coaster 2, and I just can't seem to gel with that game. Like, there were just so many things I really wanted from a sequel to Planet Coaster, and they didn't do any of them. Like, they improved the graphics, which is nice, and they made smoothing roller coasters way better, so that's good. But like, the giant station platforms, I hate them so much, and it's really annoying that they're still here. And I have no interest in water parks, and you can't build parking lots anymore because there's no cars in the game, like scenery pieces. So maybe when they keep on adding a few more updates or DLCs, and the game becomes more on par with Planet Coaster 1's content, maybe I'll redo that, or maybe I'll just suck it up and just make a theme park in Planet Coaster 2. I don't know, I just have a bit of a dry spell there. Maybe there should be other games. I keep on saying I should try out Space Engineers 2 and No Man's Sky, and I've got those games. I just still haven't. I think I just need to sort my life out, basically, guys, and and play some more games. What games I even played last year, like in my free time, I mean. I played RoboCop Rogue City twice. By the way, if you've not played RoboCop Rogue City, it's great. It's basically RoboCop 3, the film, doesn't exist. It's RoboCop 1, RoboCop 2, and then RoboCop Rogue City. That's the trilogy of RoboCop now. And the New Game Plus is one of the most fun New Game Plus modes ever, because you just are so overpowered. It's brilliant. So that was a great game I played. And I'm playing a lot of the old Call of Duty. So Black Ops 1, Modern Warfare 3, with my partner Beth. We've installed Plutonium, which is basically like how you play COD now. Like, don't get the official Activision ones because you'll just get hacked. But there's a great like fan-made, it's kind of, I don't know if I can talk about it too much without getting like copyright strikes from Activision, but just Google Plutonium. That's how you play COD now. Yeah, we're playing that. It's been great fun. And, yeah, I guess playing Kerbal Space Program. This is the first time I played Kerbal Space Program in 2026, was filming this mission, so did that. Yeah. But yeah, aside from kind of video games, other content I kind of want to make this year, I want to do some 3D printing videos. I've bought a 3D printer. I got the Bamboo P1S, I think is what it's called, because you can 3D print Kerbal Space Program rockets. I thought, that could be a fun video, and also I kind of want a 3D printer, so let's do that. So yeah, I've got it. I've been trying to like mess around with it, kind of learning how it works. So I've just been using basic tools like Tinkercad because I don't know how to use Blender, so I'll have to learn kind of some better CAD software, I think. And yeah, we'll try and 3D print some Kerbal rockets and lots of other good stuff. I've seen like people have made like controller, like joysticks that fit over an Xbox controller. That could be a fun thing to do with Kerbal Space Program because we play console KSP with a joystick. I don't know, I've really thought this through this far. And there's a great like fan-made like Jebediah Kerman statue that you can 3D print that I really want to 3D print, so that'll be a good thing to do as well. So yeah, looking back at the screen, I realise I haven't really talked a lot about what's been going on, but hopefully it's been fairly self-explanatory. I did say very early on that you guys have probably statistically have seen at least one Juno mission video from me by now, so you kind of know how it goes. But I just did the super lazy way of getting back, where I just put ourselves on an orbit that intersects Kerbin's orbit, then I did a maneuver node kind of just after Parallax, so we could just force an encounter with Kerbin nice and easily. And here we are about to enter the atmosphere. So I like to stage very late on, so our Kerbals have a nice entertaining fireworks show to watch for re-entry. So yeah, just I did make sure that all the Kerbals are indeed on board the re-entry module and not still on the lander can, because they would be very toasty right about now, as you can see all those explosions happening behind us. But yeah, it's a bit disconcerting that we can only see Bill, Jeb and Bob, but Matt Kerman I'm sure is in there as well, so that's good. We ended up actually not landing straight away. We actually skipped out of the atmosphere again, but luckily we are captured around Kerbin, so we're going to fly off deep into interplanetary space, requiring yet another mission. Yep, here we are, entering the atmosphere once again. This time we are not going to be leaving it. We're going to be touching down right on a little... I always hope we'll land in water, because that seems a bit more realistic. But this time we landed on a very, very narrow island. Kind of a bit unlucky. This is like part of the... There's like a giant asteroid crater on Kerbin, and this is part of the crater's rim. So very nearly splashed down in the sea, but not quite. So to slow down our descent speed just a little bit by detaching our ablative heat shield, and then we can, yeah, wait for landing to occur, which is very quick for you guys. I can speed the footage up. There we are, touching down just next to this long grass with a cool little lightning storm going on in the distance there. So yeah, there's the lander there. What we're going to do now is recover it so we can see what rewards I've got for Basti. 1,115 science in total. So I've got 1,004 science there. And we've also recovered 2,969 nice funds for Basti to use. So they are. Hope you spend them well. And thank you guys for watching this video. Thank you so much to Incogni once again for sponsoring. They've sponsored my channel so long now. Thank you so much again for sponsoring me again. And of course, big thank you to the names on screen. They're of course my Patreon supporters and YouTube channel members who make all this content possible. And again, if you're one of those names, you have your own version of this video in the description with download links and no ads and all that good stuff. But thank you so much for watching, guys. Have a great rest of the year, and I'll see you all soon.